morning, everyone. I took a look at the attendee list, and I saw a few familiar faces and some new ones. So welcome to all. In today's presentation, I'm going to go over what the new cloud offerings are from Autodesk. I'm meant to familiarize those that are new with the Autodesk Cloud offerings, as well as those that are current BIM 360 product users. I will go ahead and kind of show you the UI a little bit as we go through here, and then we'll wrap up with some additional features as well. If you want to go ahead and put your questions in the chat, I'll take a break between each kind of module review or discussion and try to address questions for that module as we go through. So something comes up and you want to ask a question, please put it in the chat. And then at the end, you can always put questions in your survey too, and myself or your account rep can get back to you at that point too, but feel free if you want to use the chat. So let's go ahead and get started. So these are the three new offerings that Autodesk is providing. And there's the Autodesk Docs, the BIM Coordinate, and the BIM Coordinate Pro. The Autodesk Docs is going to be your backbone or your primary access for everything that's in the Autodesk Cloud. It's basically going to be the new version of BIM 360 Docs. The BIM Collaborate is going to be your cloud-based clash detection tool for reviewers and non-authoring contributors to your project teams, and it's replacing the BIM 360 model coordination. And then BIM Collaboration Pro is the next evolution of BIM 360 design. It includes all the functionality of BIM Collaboration, of BIM 360 design, as well as the collaboration services. Let me back up. It includes all the functionality of BIM Collaboration, okay, as well as the collaboration services for Revit, Civil 3D, and Plant 3D. So each one builds on top of the other. BIM Collaboration Pro is for those that are designers and authors who require anytime, anywhere co-authoring and access with access for Civil 3D, Plant 3D, and Revit. So before we take a closer look at the new offerings, let's first discuss why the cloud platform change. So over the last few years, Autodesk has acquired additional applications, some of them that you can see here, that complemented the BIM 360 cloud workflow. However, what they found with purchasing these companies and integrating them is that it required additional steps to integrate these additional tools. Oftentimes you had to download and upload files to leverage the new services. With the migration to the Autodesk Construction platform, your projects can go from design straight through to construction, leveraging the Autodesk Cloud platform and many of these new tools while eliminating time-consuming tasks that we have through the BIM 360 Cloud. You'll notice that BIM 360 is still listed. Any projects that are on the BIM 360 environment are still going to be accessible through the Autodesk Construction Cloud. BIM 360 design will continue to be developed, although the roadmaps for each cloud platform will be different. So we're just trying to look at a more unified way of utilizing some of these new resources that we have. So the first thing we're going to look at is Docs. Much like with BIM 360 design, Autodesk Docs is going to be the foundation for the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. It's a centralized document management solution that acts as a single source of truth across the project lifecycle for all of the teams. Design professionals and extended project team stakeholders, whether within one firm or across multiple firms, can collaborate securely and store data on the Autodesk Cloud. Well, on the Autodesk Cloud Construction platform using AEC Docs. Within the document management module is where you'll access, view, upload, publish files, launch the viewer to view and access markup tools, define and review issues, as well as to start the review and transmittal processes. If your concern is accountability and ensuring that everyone involved in the project is completing their tasks in a timely manner, you can create issues and markups in the Autodesk Docs. These features enable you to pin issues in context, collaborate with comment threads, and add photos, assign work, track open issues through the resolution. So for those that are using BIM 360 design, you'll see a lot of similarities. They've basically just moved those tools over. You will see some as we go through here, some additional tools as well for those that are already using BIM 360. So let's take a look at BIM Collaborate. BIM Collaborate, this is going to provide you a cloud-based coordination tool for doing collision detection. It does include the Autodesk Docs as well, and it's going to be your next generation of model coordination. When the entire project team is involved in the clash detection and resolution, issues can be identified and solved without waiting for coordination meetings, quickly be able to see any existing issues. And issues can and you can also assign a clash issue to someone to resolve. And then under our Collaboration Pro, as you can see, we're building on each one of these. The Collaboration Pro adds the powerful Revit Cloud work sharing technology that enables real-time Revit work sharing virtually anywhere. So with the BIM Collaborate, you're looking at non-authoring individuals, looking at clashes here in the BIM Collaborate Pro. Now we're looking at those that are actually authoring the files. If it's Revit or if we're looking at Civil 3D or Plant 3D. BIM Collaborate Pro also enables users to co-author Revit models within the Revit Cloud work sharing. This gives you the ability to extend work sharing to project team members in any location, while centralizing your efforts of distributed teams. If you're concerned with security, BIM Collaborate Pro gives you a great deal of flexibility to control who has access to your design data. Within it, you can restrict user access to certain folders or limit access according to users, roles, or a company. Control work sharing and design deliverable exchange with the assurance that the right information is in the right hands throughout the project. For those that are using BIM 360, might be familiar with this, the workflow as far as what we call our swim lanes still exists. If your concern is efficient team communication, you can use BIM Collaborate Pro to ensure that your project team is always aware of the project's overall progress. These are the swim lanes that I was mentioning before, where you can see each team's progress. This allows us to reduce the rework with trackable project activities. We can facilitate model exchange and deliverable coordination. We can understand the changes in context between aggregated models in a single space. And we can navigate the change visualization. It's really a nice tool to be able to go in there and quickly look at what your team has done from one version to another, or another team, especially in an aggregated model. Oop, a little speedy there. Go back here a little bit. All right. So the BIM Collaborate Pro also adds powerful cloud collaboration for Civil 3D, technology that enables a real-time work sharing virtually anywhere within Civil 3D as well. And then we also have the BIM Collaboration Pro, will provide those powerful cloud collaboration tools for Plant 3D technology, again, enabling that real-time work sharing. BIM Collaborate Pro for Civil 3D and Plant 3D provides better access for your project stakeholders regardless of location or role, and extends that collaboration to project teams in any location while centralized efforts of a distributed team. So it's very handy if you've got people that are in different locations that can access those files from the cloud without having to work remote on a local desktop or something like that, and have your files all stored in one location. BIM Collaborate Pro gives you a great deal of flexibility to control who has access to your design. So you can restrict users to certain folders with 6 available project-wide and folder-specific permission levels. You can limit access according to user, role, or a company. You can control work sharing and design deliverable exchange with the assurance that the right information is in the right hands throughout the project. So let's, before I go any further, why don't we take just a second here. Let me see if I've got any questions. Looks like we're still based on our call-in numbers here, so we'll keep going. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat, and then I'll stop again here in a minute, and we'll take a look. All right, so let's take a quick look at the UI for the new Autodesk Construction Cloud. For those of you that have been working with BIM 360, you'll see the changes. For those that are new, hopefully this will kind of give you kind of a rundown of kind of what to expect or what it looks like working in here. All right, let's see here. All right, so on the account admin panel, you've got two main admin modules. You're going to have the account and the project. The account admin is the individual that's going to create your projects. They can add members to your Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. And then they can also use templates to start those projects, define templates. And then there's some generic settings for your platform. So those are the key things that we'll take a look at here. And then we also have, the project admin and the roles that they're going to play. Now, the project admin is really administering the project itself. They're the ones that are going to be adding people to the project, setting up permissions for the project, enabling the services. Is this just going to be Docs? Are they going to just be doing Docs and Coordination? Or will this include all 3, Docs, Coordination, and Design Collaboration? Oops, a little too fast on the click there. So here are a few of the tasks that an account admin are responsible for. As I mentioned, the account admins create the projects. Too fast on the click, I guess. They will go ahead and add in the account members for your Autodesk Construction Cloud. Now, this is different than the project members. This is usually individuals from a highly trusted environment. So employees, people, or companies you work with regularly. However, anyone that is added to your Autodesk Construction account will be searchable by the project admin when they go in to add project members. So it can be helpful for the project admin to have a list of people, but you typically only put those in here that you work with on a regular basis. It's going too fast. The account admin configure and select a template to use in creating new projects as well. There's a few new features in here as well. And then for our settings, this provides general information about your account when in the Autodesk Docs environment or within the account admin module. So things like your account ID, your account name. And then there's also the BIM 360 admin module. There are still some additional account tools that have not been migrated over into the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. So we'll still go into BIM 360 to access some of these modules. Word is that those will all be migrated over by the end of the year, but currently there's some that are still over there in BIM 360. In the project admin module, project admins can manage members, product access, and the project profile itself. In the design collaboration module, project admins can set up the design teams and folders for Autodesk Cloud-based Revit work sharing, as well as set up the coordination spaces for clash detection in the model coordination module. So depending on where you're at, you'll see under settings, you have a few more options here than the admin did because they're project specific. And then the Autodesk Accounts module, the project admins can also create new folders and manage project members, permissions, levels, and so forth. And we'll take a look at that. Don't see any questions in, so I'll continue, but if you have any, go ahead and let me know. So for Autodesk Docs, this is where all the project files are uploaded to. Once folders are defined and project members are added to the folders, the project members with sufficient permissions can begin to add files to the cloud. Now, of course, those permissions are going to be determined by that project admin. They can upload the files from AutoCAD, Revit, or manually upload the files to Autodesk Docs. Project members can note the latest version of a file, who's last updated the file, is there any markups or issues associated with the file, just to mention a few of the features. By selecting a file listed in Autodesk Docs, the selected file is opened in the BIM viewer. A project member can view the files published, and they can navigate the views and add markups. They can compare versions and assign issues to other project members as well. Some features do require a minimum permission level. So for viewing, you only need to have viewing permissions. Under the reviews, the document management provides features that enable document managers to facilitate, control, and automate the review and distribution of project files. So only designated team members can select certain files. Well, designated team members can select files from specific folders that they have permissions to, and then say they want to submit these files for review. So it is managed and controlled by the project admin, but it can be a very helpful tool to go through each step of the review process and make sure the correct people are reviewing and approving the changes to files. The transmittal feature is designed to support a formal process for conveying information from one project team member or to one or more other project team members. By selecting a file or folder and initiating create transmittals, an email notification with a link to the transmittal is automatically sent to the recipient. The transmittals tab has a complete list of all the sent and received transmittals for the project. However, only the recipients of the transmittals will see, they'll only see transmittals they are a recipient of unless they're the project admin, and then they can see all of the transmittals for that project. A recipient can either open the email or go back into Autodesk Docs and select on the transmittals tab and view the files that are in that transmittal, and then also select the download option to download a zip file of all of those files in the transmittal. When issues are created, they're assigned to a project member or members. When a person is assigned an issue, they will also receive an email automatically with a link to the issue. Once they click on that link and it takes them to the issue, they can view it in the BIM viewer and then address that issue back in the designated software. And then on reports, they'll be available depending on which service you have active, and the reports will vary depending on what services you've purchased. If it's just Collaborate, or if it's just BIM Collaboration, BIM Collaboration Pro, or one of the construction modules. After reports are created, they can be exported out to PDF or Excel spreadsheets. And then under our members, we can set up permissions to manage the individual members. Now, a project member can only view the members and their permissions, whereas a project admin can manage those members, invite members, remove members, and modify their permissions. All right, let me check questions here. So question is design collaboration and model collaboration differences. There's not really any, so the design collaboration is the new generation of model collaboration, much like Design Collaboration Pro is the new generation of BIM 360 design. So there's really not any differences. You're going to have cloud collaboration on both of those. If you had BIM 360 design previously, and it automatically rolled into BIM Collaboration Pro, you now will have access to model collaboration within the BIM 360 environment as well. All right, let me go ahead and go on. Anybody else any questions? Please go ahead and put them in there. All right, so model coordination is going to provide the coordination space to upload, review, and detect clash detections between the latest set of project models. On that Models tab, when models are added to a coordination folder, any clashes between the models are detected automatically. And there's a process that you can go through if they're acceptable or if they need to be assigned. You can view those files in that coordination space, and then you can associate if it's a clash or not and assign that issue to individuals. You can view any detected clashes using the clash tool as well. Clashes can be viewed, classified, and associated to an issue, as I mentioned, and then assigned. So there are just different ways of being able to get to those clashes and take a look at them. Okay. Clashes are going to automatically be filtered by active, assigned, or closed when they're when you're viewing them. So here's an example of a clash where we can see between two files the clash. So here on the views is a collection of models that can be saved as a group. So you might have one folder that has many files in it, and maybe you don't want to see all those clashes at one time. You can go in and create a group, which is just a collection of models, one or two, or more. It's just what you want. It's usually used to be filtered down a little bit. This can be helpful to easily return to a view and see what changes have been made as those models are updated. And then the meetings tool is new to the Autodesk Construction Cloud, and this is available for both the model coordination and Design Collaboration, as well as Design Collaboration Pro. With the meeting, you can set the meeting date, time, and location, add in the meeting description, agenda items, invitees to the meeting. And then during the meeting, you can capture decisions that are made or create next steps by assigning individuals, roles, or companies to specific items and assigning due dates. And then if you need to, you can schedule a follow-up meeting while still in the room. And if you have any outstanding issues, they can be moved over to the next meeting. And then again on the reports, same as before, just depending on what module you're in and what modules you purchased as to what reports you'll have available to you. And then on our members, again, as I mentioned, Each module can have its own members. So maybe somebody is just a member to the Autodesk Docs. Some people might be members to Docs and to BIM Collaborate. So you can assign those individuals and permissions to which modules. And then here you'll notice that under settings, it's a little bit different than what we saw before under the Autodesk Docs. We now have the coordination space listed here. And this is where the project admin would define where that coordination space will be. So in this case, all of my project files that are in the shared folder will automatically be set up to go into the coordination space. All right, any other questions before we move on to the next step? All right. So the Design Collaboration Pro is utilized when collaborating with the Autodesk Cloud with Revit, Civil 3D, and Plant 3D. The Design Collaboration Pro allows those teams to choose how they work with other teams. Sometimes they need to be constantly in sync, while in other cases, they need to control the exchange of that information between each other. So the team space is the main portal for each team in the Design Collaboration Pro module. It provides an up-to-date view of the experience of the current state of the model, depending on who's published it recently, so that you can take a look at it either individually or as an aggregated model. We can take a look at the project status as well. This tool will allow us to view the status of all the published models in the project, who published the model, when the models were last published, and the location of the models. And then here under the changes, under the Design Collaboration, we'll automatically check for all project data for changes when it's uploaded and published to Docs. So the team members can then navigate to this and watch the groups to quickly and easily explore and understand the design changes most relevant to them. You might notice that it does say that this is a beta tool. I'm not sure when that's going to move out of beta at this point in time. All right. So meetings, much like we talked about before, is the same option that we would have when we were in the model coordination. We'll move on. Same thing with our members. The one thing you want to notice over here on this slide is that you'll see here's the different modules that have been purchased, and then you can provide those members access to each one of those modules. As I mentioned before, each module has its own set of members that can be assigned and provided permissions. And then here under our settings, we have a few more options here under our Design Collaboration when it comes to settings. We'll always have project, but in this case, we can set up our teams as well as manage our project. In this case, I've got shown the main model. The main model is the model that you're going to use that's going to define your levels and your grids. If there isn't a main model selected, it's going to assume the largest model is going to manage that functionality or that information. All right. I don't see any other questions yet. So I will go ahead and continue. So those are the three modules that we were looking at within BIM 360 Design, Within BIM Collaboration Pro, BIM Collaboration, and then Autodesk Docs. The next one we're going to look at is the dashboard, which is the Insight module, and it comes with Autodesk Docs and is available to everybody. And it has some nice features for the project members, regardless of what role they're playing in the project. The Insight dashboard provides a single view of the project for the project members. They can access important and relevant actionable information. You can quickly evaluate areas that require attention for you or your team or even your company, and then easily navigate to the modules to continue to work. So in this case here, in this image, I could select on any one of these issues from the dashboard, and it would take me directly to a BIM view with that issue so I could see what's going on. As project member, they can view issues directly relevant to them. You'll see with the little pop-up there that they can control what's displayed in that card by either the issues assigned to them, to their company, or that are project issues. And then the cards on the dashboard can be rearranged. So as you can see here, one of those is being pulled away. It's completely customizable as far as what cards you want to see and how they're organized. And then you can also go in and add third-party cards as well to your dashboard. So there is a card library that you can choose from, either ones that are provided by Autodesk or ones that are provided by third-party applications that you might want to add in. Right. So let's talk a little bit about activating and accessing your account if you want to start using the Autodesk Construction Cloud, or if you are a new user to both BIM 360 and Autodesk Construction Cloud, what that means for you. So if you were to go into your Autodesk account at this point in time, you won't see BIM 360 Design anymore. They've all been migrated over to BIM Collaborate Pro. With one exception, if you've got a network license, you may still see an AEC collection. You still may see the BIM 360, but that's supposed to be rolled over, I think, by the end of April. If you've got questions on that, let us know. We can verify that. But for most people, you'll probably see the BIM Collaboration Pro available now. If you want to activate either BIM 360 BIM 360 application platform or the Autodesk Construction Cloud platform, you'll click on the Access Now button. That will bring up a dialog box down, as you see down below, where you can choose which one of the platforms that you want to activate. If you already have a license of BIM 360, and you are an account admin and you click on that button, you will only get an option for the unified platform because you already have a BIM 360 account. If you are a new user and don't have an account on the BIM 360 platform, then you'll see both options and you can choose which one you want. Currently, there is not an EU option for the unified platform, but we expect to see that probably next month. So the options are basically if you want your server to be in the US or in the EU. Oh, if a project member or an Autodesk account holder who is not an admin selects on the Access Now, it's just going to take them to whatever account they have. If it's the unified account that shows both BIM 360 as well as the Autodesk Construction Cloud projects, or it'll take them directly to BIM 360 if you only have that active. You'll now be able to see if you have BIM 360 projects or ACC projects here by the symbol. So the B represents our BIM 360 project. These are going to be the projects that are on the new Autodesk Construction Cloud. You can see both projects from the unified project list. Once you're in BIM 360, you can also see change accounts to be able to see that as well. So if I go up to change accounts while I'm in BIM 360, I'll be able to get back to the unified platform or see or do change account to change to my Autodesk Construction Cloud platform. All right, so in wrapping up, didn't have a lot of questions, but if you do have questions, feel free to put on your survey what questions you might have. This was real more of an overview of the new offerings. So if you would like some more information or demonstration on features, please let us know. We can accommodate that. We do offer training on BIM 360 design at this point in time. If you have a need for that, feel free to reach out to your account rep or make a note on your survey. And we will be looking at, in the near future here, putting something together for the Autodesk Construction Cloud workflow as well. And with that, I say thank you for attending, and we'll wrap up. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in there, and I'll take a minute while Ashley wraps up.
Okay, well, thank you, Alice, and thank you, everyone, for attending today. I see a question just popped up about the access to this presentation. You'll receive an email tomorrow, which will contain a link for the recording. So.
Yeah, so one quick question here. Someone's saying, is there a way to transfer a BIM 360 project from an architect to a contractor? That's going to be part of the workflow under the AEC Construction Cloud, or the Autodesk Construction Cloud, is that workflow will be continuous, whereas it's somewhat limited with BIM 360 applications, if I'm understanding the question there. Let me see if there's anybody else in there. Oh, I did see them. So there's a question here about, does the architect host the BIM 360 or the contractor? That's really going to be project specific as far as who's hosting it. And I've seen it a variety of different ways. So it really just depends on the project. And then it lets you address the will they be able to access the presentation later. All right, Ashley, I'll let you address the last question there if you want, and then we can wrap it up.
Okay, great. Yes, you will receive an email tomorrow with a link for the recording. Also, just a reminder about the short survey. It will just pop up as we close down. And if you want that AIA continuing education credit, you can leave your number and we can submit that for you. Alice, do you want to do this last question?
Yeah. So let's see. In clash detection, is there a way to separate elements that are redundant in different models? You can, but you still are going to have to say that they're acceptable clashes, or just be more selective as far as what you pick on when you're bringing files together. Let's see. Architectural floor versus structural floor. Not shown as a clash. If they're both there, they will show as a clash initially, but you can select the structural floor and you can say it's acceptable or a non-issue and remove it from the list. But it will take at least initially some input on your part to remove that clash if there's actually 2 floors there. And then we have a question here about non-Autodesk files be saved in Docs. Yes, you can save there's close to 100 different file formats now that'll be saved. Not all of them are viewable in the BIM 360 viewer, but they can be uploaded and saved. You can also use, well, I'll leave it for that for right now. Does clash detection identify when items are copied or monitored from another model? Copied or monitored. I don't know on that one, Alex. I'd have to look into that one for you. The clash detection in the cloud is not going to be as robust as like Navisworks. So I'm not sure on that one. But I can look at that. If you want to copy that one and put it on your survey, Alex, I'll be happy to look into it for you and see. Do a little test. I'm going to give everybody just a minute to see if anybody's typing feverishly. All right. I'd say let's go ahead, Ashley. It's been a minute.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Alice, and thank you, everyone, for attending. Just have a great day.